Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Intellect Selectah podcast brought to you by DestinyForever.com. In today's episode, we have an MMA legend. He's fought in organizations like Pride, UFC, Vale Tudo, and he is a former Shuto heavyweight champion, author, actor, humanitarian, fourth degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and he's a mentor of many. Sensei Enson Inoue. Thank you for taking the time and allowing us to get to know the mind behind the man. Can we start with your upbringing and where were you born?
I was born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii, and all the way until I was 23, I stayed there, and I moved up to Japan 29 years ago.
Wow. Um, I love Hawaii. After college, I used to stay on the Big Island, and I actually went over to BJ Penn's old gym. It was a super, just a super old style kind of gym. It was pretty cool.
Oh
Um,
wow!
yeah, it was pretty awesome. Um, when were you first introduced to martial arts?
Um, I started martial arts when I was actually like 3 years old,
Mm,
and it was karate. Well, I think 3 or 4. I was really young,
mm,
and then I remember like the third day in class, we were doing the basic stance in the kata, and I guess the teacher, I remember his name too, Daryl Lee. He was coming around checking everyone's stance, and I guess my stance was bad, and he swept my legs and he knocked me over and hit me to the ground. And I remember crying and running out and leaving and not ever going back.
wow. So bad experience, huh?
Yeah, and you think that, wow, you think that I'd never do martial arts again, but I actually ended up doing martial arts again and doing well at it. And
Hmm.
it's the funny thing about that was really interesting is I couldn't. I don't remember my dad giving me shit about it. Can't find my phone.
Ah, so he wasn't really pressuring you to even do martial
No, not at
arts?
all.
Mm,
He didn't call me a faggot. He didn't tell me don't be a punk. Go back to. I mean, that's his nature to do that, but he didn't.
mm-hmm. Yeah, especially growing up with you guys this time. I mean, even me when I was growing up, man, my dad was pretty tough on me. And then later on, I see all the young kids now, and they're just, getting praised all the time and stuff like that. And it's just a big difference from, I was born in '88, so it was my dad was pretty tough. He was a pretty, pretty strict dude, military dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's
It's
pretty
funny that I don't
cool.
remember. I don't remember my dad telling me go back to school or making me go back or anything.
Wow.
He was pretty mellow about it.
Did you? Oh, was your parents together when you were growing up at that time?
Yep, they're always together. They're still together now.
Awesome, awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I started a podcast, Uncle, because and guys, you guys are gonna hear me call Sensei Enson Inoue Uncle a lot because in the Pacific Islands, that's a sign of endearment and respect. So if you guys are gonna be hearing Uncle a lot. Um, so okay, so your pops didn't get mad at you. Okay, who was your mentor in the beginning of your career? In the beginning, actually, who was your first mentor?
In the beginning, growing up was my brother Egan. I
Oh,
always looked up to him. He never smoked or drank, so that's why I never smoked or drank.
wow, that's cool.
So as far as a child in my childhood, yeah, Egan was probably the one I looked up to. He trained really hard. He had discipline. He always excelled at whatever he did. So he was like a good mentor for me.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, I started fighting before him. So of
Oh,
course, as a mentor, he never did fight. So when I first started, I got started because of Gracie Jiu Jitsu.
wow, that's
So if I had
awesome.
to pick a single mentor in fighting, would be probably Hoist Gracie. I really
Hoist.
looked up to him, and he had that mentality of, I guess, for him it's a little different because he's defending the family name, and that's all
Yes.
they're about. Yeah, so he was one that was willing to die in the ring, and I really thought that was super honorable and super like warriorish. And when I decided to start fighting, that's how I wanted to, you know, have my role as a warrior. You know, like I mean, my role as a fighter, like a warrior, the way of the warrior. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was telling people on my podcast that I grew up in Japan, and that's where, well, when I was 8 years old, my dad got stationed in Sasebo, Nagasaki, and
Oh, Nagasaki.
yeah, so it's still considered a little bit formative years. I was young enough to absorb, but not old enough to understand. So everything I saw was pretty awesome. I was super fascinated with martial arts and just all the temples and everything. And when I left there, I really started analyzing things, and I had my life was so attached to Japan and the philosophies that it took me down this conscious road, and I've been doing like conscious music, trying to help um, other people through music and kind of uplift them. So this is a kind of an extension of that. When I started the podcast, to get specialists and figure and have them share their mental journey, because it was such a hard thing for me in my 20s, and I'm 32 now. And I know that if I had at least getting into self development like earlier, I was like,
Uh huh.
hopefully I can use the people that listen to my music, extend that, and hopefully they can gain some value out of it.
Uh huh.
I'm sorry for keep going off track.
No, no worries, man. Oh, so you're a musician?
Yes, yes. Actually, the first time I met you was with Roman on the 10th anniversary when we went on that cruise. I was
Yeah,
supposed,
yeah,
dude,
the boat. Yeah.
yeah, I was supposed to bring my guitar, but I freaking forgot it, and so I was like, all right, cool, let's just go over there and hang out.
Oh
And
no, shit! I remember that boat ride.
yeah, it was a long time ago for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh shit! That was at least 10 years ago. At least.
Yeah, at least
No,
like
even more. At least 15 years ago. At least.
yeah,
What is that?
because
10-year anniversary for Fuck Eye.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And that's how I met you, and that's the time, that instance when I was jamming at the shop actually for the party. Um, that's when Roman and the boys like really showed me love, and I stuck by their side for a long, long time, and I just kept seeing them um, helping people and being super nice, and just helping the community and being that positive outlet for others, and it really shaped me, as I shot you that text earlier.
Yeah. I in style, man.
Yeah, for sure. Um, what triggered your obsession with MMA? Um,
It's real funny because a lot of people they go into MMA because they think it's cool, or they think they can be a champion, or they can. Some of them go into it to make money. Some of them go into to get famous. I went for neither of any of that.
mm-hmm,
Um, Fighting was something that was in my blood because in Hawaii, the islands, we fight a lot. Before there were guns, a lot of the issues were solved through fists.
yeah,
And for me, I already had it in my blood, and I found fighting as an outlet to become a better man, to control my nerves, control my anxiety.
mm-hmm,
Like if you ever played any sports, or even as a musician,
yeah,
you can jam a song at home
mm-hmm,
and play it pretty much with your eyes closed. But then when you first start getting into this onto the stage, and it's a big stage,
mm-hmm,
and your nerves come involved.
yeah,
If you can't control your nerves at the time, all of a sudden holding a freaking G or holding a D,
mm-hmm,
you can't. You somehow the fingers aren't pressing on the strings right, and maybe you're stumbling through the chords when the chords that you actually flow through at home.
yeah,
So when you think about it, something like that, something like even giving a speech in English, if you're in front of a crowd, you can't speak properly, you slur your words, or you stutter, or you miss words,
mm-hmm,
is because of nerves. And something as simple as talking interferes with your motor skills as a person because of nerves. I just felt that it was something that I wanted to control. I remember when I was small, I saw a movie of a car turning over and caught on fire. The father of the family got out, and because he was in a panic mode, he couldn't control his nerves. He couldn't open the door because he was so panicked. I mean, if he took his time and reached around, opened the lock, and opened the door, he could have got his kids out. But when he panicked, he couldn't open the door. His family burned and died. And I
That's
remember watching
crazy.
that as a child, thinking, "Holy shit! I would never want to be in a situation and lose people that I care about because from something that I actually could have worked to control if I worked on it earlier." So
Yeah.
I noticed that in sports, when I went to the racquetball court, I could hit a shot 100 times perfectly when it's real close to the front wall, and then all of a sudden when I'm in a game, because of your nerves, you either hit it into the ground and it's a skip, or you hit it too high and it comes off the back wall. And I always felt that, wow, this is something. I mean, to have to test it in a life and death situation is going to be too late.
Yes.
So I always thought of things in my life that, of course, would never be to that severity, but it would be enough to small steps. You start getting into it where you learn this, you learn that, you fight amateurs, you fight the low rank pros, almost like the fighting game. You slowly get into it, and as you go along, if you can control your nerves, I
It's
think it's
limitless.
not gonna be like a a confirmation that when you get into a life and death situation, you're gonna be able to think normally. But I think the more you can challenge yourself, and the more you can go through those tests and challenge your nerves, whether you fail or succeed in that test, you're building strength and you're building awareness on how to battle the nerves when it comes into effect. So in the racquetball tournament, I I never got to that 100% spot, but I got to a comfortable point where I could almost feel like the shots that I practiced in the practice court, I could execute in the tournaments, in the major tournaments, and it felt pretty comfortable. I felt sometimes you go into the court and all of a sudden it's like your footwork that your crossover step to hit the forehand is all of a sudden is you can't do it. But I felt I could do that. My shots were basically the same that I practiced, and then I felt, okay, that's good. I can control my nerves. That's good. Then when I never thought of getting in the ring. I used to train for the streets. So we trained we a lot of fights in the streets. When I was training under Helson Gracie, and his older brother was Hickson, and Hickson was fighting in Japan when I was in Japan, and I was already a purple belt in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Wow.
So I was a purple belt in Japan, and I was already up there, playing racquetball, teaching English. And when Hickson came up to fight, I went to watch. And I'm the type of guy who would watch in silence and cheer inside. And if he wins quietly, go, yeah, he kicked his ass, But for some reason, because it was fun, when Egan played in a racquetball tournament, that's how it was. I never screamed out and yelled out. I always was like, yes, he won that rally. Yes, he scored a point. It was quiet.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when Hickson won the tournament, I jumped up and I remember standing on the seat and screaming, yeah, with my hands raised. And then I sat down thinking, holy shit, I couldn't control myself watching a friend fight in the ring. I just couldn't imagine the nerves that I would feel. I couldn't control it outside watching a friend. If it's actually me in there, I was thinking, I don't know if I could, that'll be even harder. So I had this crazy mission to get in the ring once, just to feel it, just to test myself to that extreme point of anxiety and try to learn to control and be me in the ring.
Yes.
And I was on a big mission to get in the ring. Called all the different associations, and Shuto was the only one that actually told me, come down.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, and when I went there, because of the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Japan at the time had no knowledge of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. The only knowledge they had was UFC 1, where Royce Gracie beat everyone up with the groundwork. And they were like, whoa, what is this shit? He's like toying with the guys in the ground like they're little babies.
Yeah,
And that's the only knowledge they had. So when I came, I had the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So when I went to spar at a gym, to the Shuto gym, the guy made me spar a guy. So happened to be Nakai Yuki, which is one of the BJJ legends now in Japan. But it was him, and then I put out position him. I got all my positions on him, and um, the guy told me he wants me to fight 3 months later in the professional ring, and I was like, whoa. I wanted to get in the ring. Pro, amateur didn't matter, just the ring. To have that man-to-man, one man standing across the ring trying to kick your ass or kill you, that nerves. That's all I wanted to feel. I didn't need to be pros. It didn't need to be anything else.
Yeah.
But he wanted me to go into pros, and so I had no amateur career. I went straight into the pro ring.
That's crazy.
And that's how it started. And then I got that one experience, and I was pretty much, I totally didn't control myself. But with that experience, I felt I will be better than I was before that fight if I get into a life and death situation where I have to keep calm and save someone's life or even my own life. But because the teacher put 3 months into the training and he was super excited, he said, okay, who's going to fight next? I'm like, oh, shit. It was only one fight, but I owe him at least that much. I'll fight one more.
Yeah.
And I'll fight one more after I win. Went for 4 fights.
Wow.
And then the fourth fight was a K1 fighter, Andre Menard. And of course it was MMA, but still he was a big known K1 name. And when I took him to the ground and submitted him, things started churning in my head. Like, wow, wait a minute, let's see how good you are in this.
That was your validation for.
Yep, and that was my mind shift from just getting into the ring to learn to control the nerves to, wow, as I'm doing this, I want to see how good I can be in this sport. And it just shifted over, and the whole momentum went to training to try and become the best fighter in the world.
Wow. I honestly, I am really fascinated with your career because, I have a mutual friend in Roman with you, and 2, it's like you've always been known to be that badass guy, that badass motherfucker. You know what I mean? And that's why it's like trips me out because you're also one of the nicest human beings that I've ever met too. And it always seems like that. The more badass the guy, the more freaking nice he is, dude. And it's just crazy. And I really appreciate that about martial arts. And that's why I asked you to let's get into like the mental side because philosophy and martial arts is kind of just coincides with each other, you know?
Yeah.
Man, you answered a bunch of my questions already. I'm like, shit. Okay, who's your toughest opponent in your career?
There's different toughs, yeah. So physically tough, Mark Kerr. Mark Kerr was the most physically powerful person that I've ever fought. I mean, the strength that I felt through him. I never had a problem with strength, but with him, I almost felt like I couldn't really dictate anything in the movement of the match.
Wow.
Yeah. So his for strength wise was Mark Kerr. As far as the toughest opponent, as far as a war, head to head war, was Frank Shamrock.
Yeah, I saw one of the interviews that he said, and he said that was one of his toughest fights too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're trying to. It was cool because no one was running in any direction but right straight ahead into each other. It was a perfect fight. It was like those fights. It takes 2 to make it a good fight. And he was right there in front of me, willing to die, trying to kill me.
You broke his arm in that one, right?
What's that?
You broke his forearm in that or something, right?
No, I lost that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, that wise, yeah, Frank. As far as career wise, my best fight, not the toughest, but my best was beating Randy Couture.
Yeah, that was clean.
And then as far as the best fight, the toughest fight I've had within myself as my toughest testing my spirit was Igor Vovchanchi.
And that was
Pride 10. And that was he so what happened was we made it through the first round was 10 minutes. We made it through that first round, and spiritually I was ready to go, but my body was beat.
Yeah.
Spiritually I was ready to go. I was so strong, and for me, my whole thinking was I'm still alive, so I can still fight.
What
So
number fight was that, Uncle?
that was Pride 10.
Oh, okay. And was that when Supreme Confidence kicked in, when you really knew? Oh, that was your last fight?
No, that was actually towards the end of my career.
Oh,
But
okay.
that was the fight that made me realize that there was nothing more in the ring that I could gain
Yeah, you
as far
didn't.
as being a stronger man.
I see.
So that fight, I had a ruptured eardrum, broken jaw, broken finger, a liver count 2,000 times a normal person when I went to the hospital, and I had a swollen brain.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it took me about 3 months to fully recover from it.
Wow.
But after that, the ring was about, if you look at the opponents that I picked,
Yeah.
it wasn't about, the fighters nowadays pick fighters because they can beat them. I want to fight him because I know how to beat him. I'll knock him out in the first round. It's like, for me, the reason why I fought wasn't to win and make money and be famous and get belts. Mine was to test my grit, test my heart, and put me at adversity
Hmm.
to make me stronger. So if I saw a fighter that I knew I could beat up, it didn't attract me at all. I saw Mark Kerr destroy Hugo Duarte, which is the only guy who challenged Rickson Gracie on the beach and pretty much took Mount and Rickson in the beginning. He
Wow.
made Hugo
Holy
look like
crap.
a coward.
Wow.
Yeah, he
That's
made Hugo look like a coward trying to run out of the ring in one of the pride fights. So when I saw that, I said, I want to feel that ferocity and see what I would do. Because whether I wimp out and become a fag or I tough it out, no matter what's going to happen, to feel that ferocity is going to make me a stronger person. Yeah, when I fought Keith Hearing is when he just beat Tom Erickson, which was one of the most powerful wrestlers that came out of wrestling. They even say like he would overpower Mark Kerr.
wow.
He would throw around Randy Couture. So
Wow.
Tom Erickson was the heavy man, the heavy hitter, the man for wrestling, and he came out and lost to Keith Hearing. So when I got offered Keith Hearing, I said I want to feel that guy's power.
Yeah, and it's
And
you versus you, right, Unc? I mean, that's basically it. I mean,
yeah, exactly. And then the reason why I fought Igor was because in the Pride before that, he knocked out this big, huge jiu-jitsu guy, Francis Bueno. I mean, knocked him out cold, and actually his eyes rolled back, and as he was falling, he like jocked him again.
oh, I saw that.
And I remember,
I,
yeah, and I remember I was in the crowd, like in the fourth row, and down to the right of me, his Francis Bueno's wife was, or his girlfriend was there,
mm,
and I remember this distinctly because he didn't move for a long time,
wow.
to a point where we were even thinking, "Oh shit, I wonder if he's okay." And I
We're,
remember her on the side screaming and crying and thinking that he's dead,
dude, that's scary.
Yeah, so when I saw that, I was like, man, I gotta fight Igor. And of course, not thinking of winning, but thinking of challenging myself. My idea to fight Igor was to go in there and hit and fight him at his strength, which was his striking. So I wanted to feel what it was like to, you can imagine the anxiety of standing in front of someone that can knock you out cold in one punch,
That's
and
scary.
you're trying to see if you can hit him first.
And you're facing your fear, man. I mean, you are a
Yeah,
fear chaser, and fear to me and insecurity are catapults to growth. And the more fear and insecurity you have, the more opportunity for more and more growth. And I just applaud you and your whole career for being such a honorable person, respectful to your opponents too. You never bashed anybody.
yeah.
You and you are just um, your philosophy on martial arts is second to none. Like, that's real martial arts, and a lot of people around the world respect you for that, and that's you're renowned for that. Um, so, how did you deal with negative self-talk as these fears keep popping up?
Um, the thing with negative self-talk and fear that comes into your head during weathers before a fight is something that you have to hit head on. You can't think. There's always that saying that a strong man feels no fear,
Mm-hmm.
but a man with the samurai spirit will feel fear, will confront it, and work through it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my whole thing. Whenever I had negative thoughts or I ever had fear, I always wanted to analyze and understand it. Because
Yeah,
you know what fear is some, you know, fear is the what's not understood. What you can't understand a lot of the times creates fear.
definitely.
If you're a kid and you're sitting in your bedroom and then the closet doors open and it's dark and
Mm-hmm.
you start imagining these monsters in there,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's just fear because there's that unknown. You swim in the ocean and the depth, you think of fuck how there's sharks,
Yeah.
all kinds of shit under here, and then you start swimming and you start getting scared because it's that unknown, that misunderstanding of what's in there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a deep pool and you can see the bottom and you know there's no creatures down there, there's no fear. If
Definitely.
you turn on the light to the closet and then you can see that there's clothes and your toys in there, there's no
Mm-hmm.
fear anymore in the closet. So the I always realize that the biggest fear is the unknown. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, you go into your training and they say if I'm going to fight Randy Couture, he was at the top of his game at the time. And I remember him Greco-Romaning Vitor Belfort and dirty boxing him the whole fight, knocking Vitor out. And at the time, Vitor was like this freaking phenom, you know,
Yeah,
knocking out guys way bigger than him, hands of the super speed, knocked out Vander Silva. You know,
that
I
was
mean, he was
crazy.
a man.
Yeah.
So there's a fear, you know. And when I was offered Randy Couture, I felt the fear, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what made me excited to take the fight. And then from there, it's what I do for the 3 months of training to get ready for the fight is where I can confront the fear and understand the fear and make it more everything that was fearful of Randy when I dissected his game and studied him. Went to a lot of Greco-Roman training, understood the way he switches his hands, the way he brings his elbows to do the dirty boxing. You know, that helped me understand what I thought was misunderstood. What was the unknown became the known. I
Yes.
couldn't do it as good as Randy, but it wasn't as scary anymore because
But
I knew what he was doing.
you were quieting
Yeah, I
the
was like you
voices.
could say I was turning on the little lights in the closet.
Mm.
It wasn't a dark closet anymore. It was not as bright, or it wasn't super bright where I knew everything out in the closet, but it
Mm.
was enough that I could see that there was no monsters in the closet.
Wow.
Yeah, so you know that's what people have to realize, that you're not a weak person because you feel fear. You're not a negative person because you think negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you do from there will make you a weak person. It's what you do from there will make you a negative person. If you feel negative thoughts and you turn it off and you somehow find the positive in the situation, every situation has its positive.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how negative it is, every situation you can find something positive. You can try and view it that way.
Yes.
You're, although you had a negative thought in the beginning, you're not a negative person. You become a positive person.
Mm.
You're not a pussy if you fear fear. If you run from the fear and you you don't take the fight or you stop fighting because you're scared, then you've lost and you've quit a coward. But if you can face the fear and you can fight through the fear, whether you win or lose, whether you conquer it or not, you're not a pussy. You're not a weak person. I
Wow.
believe that.
You know, Uncle, I was looking at some quotes. Check this out. As a samurai, I must strengthen my character. As a human being, I must perfect my spirit.
Wow,
What do you think about that?
that's so perfect. That's like something I would say.
I know. I know. That's why I
Wow,
grabbed it.
I never saw that one. Whoa, did you say it again?
As a samurai, I must strengthen my character. As a human being, I must perfect my spirit.
Yeah, wow, I like that one. Whoa, that's a freaking T-shirt.
Yeah, that's from
Who's that quote from?
Yamaoka Tesshu.
What is he?
He's he's one of those philosopher
The
dudes.
first. Wow,
Japanese philosopher.
wow, that's exactly what I was after in my fight. That was my fighting career. I was trying wins and losses, belts didn't matter, fame or money didn't matter. It was about strengthening my spirit. Wow, that's a cool one.
Check this out. Okay, it goes further. Check this out. It says, "Thirst for victory leads to defeat. Not tiring of defeat leads to victory."
Wow, oh, that's a good
Dude,
one
that's
too.
you, man. That's you.
Wow, you know, there's this. It reminds me of this saying that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Is the samurai who goes into battle with the fear with the will to survive will surely die.
Mm.
But the samurai who goes into battle with the what was it? Wait, the samurai who goes into battle with the fear, with the will to survive will surely die. And the samurai goes into battle, the will to die will surely live. And when you
Wow.
think about it, if you literally think about it, like a normal person would think about it and say, if you go into war with your freaking gun and you're running in the front line willing to die, you're fucking gonna die.
Yeah.
If you go into the war and you're running in the back saying, fuck, I gotta sit in the back so I don't die, hide behind the shit, let the guys go first. Okay, you see where the guy's shooting, you shoot him, and you protect yourself with the will to live, there's a good chance that you'll live rather than going with the will to die. But then the last sentence in that quote sums everything up, and it says, where the spirit may rise, the body will die.
Where the spirit may rise, the body will die. Wow, that's
Yeah.
huge, man.
Yeah. Or
That's
the
huge.
spirit will, yeah. So spiritually, if you go into that battle with the will to die, whether you physically die or not, spiritually you'll live. If you
I
go as
think,
a pussy and you go into war with the will to survive and you don't take chances, you let your other friends die, you stay in the back, you hide, you pick,
yeah.
you sacrifice your other
And
guys.
even if you live, you're still gonna live a dead life because you
Yeah,
freaking
you
made all
live
your boys
physically.
go,
You
and
live
they took the
physically.
bullet, and
You live physically, but spiritually you've died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, I love your philosophy, Zonk. It's super cool, man. Hearing you talk about these kind of things, man. That's why I grabbed some quotes. Um, Real quick, I know we're getting long here. I'm sorry.
No
Um,
worries.
let's talk about what drove you. What was your mentality when convincing yourself to deliberately take on the grueling pilgrimage when you didn't have to?
That's the same thing like my fighting career. There was a guy, a Yakuza guy, that told me that he did the pilgrimage. And I was like, what pilgrimage? And he told me it was 880 miles. And he went on foot, walking about 12 to 16 hours a day in mountainous courses.
That's crazy.
And then when I thought about it, I was like, wow, 880 miles. I don't even want to fucking drive that.
Yeah. What the
Thinking to
heck?
walk that and to carry a pack, for me, it was like, wow, that's like, sounds ridiculous. So I thought that. So I remember hearing that, and I think it was for the next like year and a half. I was sitting there thinking, "Fuck!" In the back of my head, I want to do that pilgrimage. I want to try that pilgrimage. And as I looked up the pilgrimage, I noticed that there's tens of thousands of pilgrims that do the pilgrimage every year, but only 1% of them do the traditional, which is walking.
Wow.
So for me, it was an interesting thing that happened in my spirit. Was when I heard that, I was like, I still want to do it, but shit, there's a lot of people that's done it. So it's not an
1%?
impossible feat. It's like 1%, but there's if you talk of 1% of 10,000 people, that's still a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not like it's never been done. So
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there like, fuck, I don't know, man. This is something interesting, but people have done it, so I don't know if it'd be like a huge accomplishment if I did it. So I decided to put restrictions on myself.
Wow.
So the restrictions I made was, this is not something like when people do the pilgrimage, because I did it this way. It's not the way you have to do it. It's just the restrictions I made personally.
Oh.
So one restriction was I was going to walk the whole thing. So I wasn't going to catch the train or catch the bus or anything. I was going to walk the whole pilgrimage. The second restriction I had was I wasn't going to buy food.
Mm.
I was going to pack my pack with whatever food that I could carry, and I would have to make it through the full pilgrimage with whatever I have, and not to spend money on food nor lodging.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
so
wow, that's crazy.
right there, no, so right there, I thought to myself when I put those restrictions, I don't know, man, I might, I might have to call somebody to pick me up at the verge of death. But I was thinking that this is not probably. I felt confident enough that I don't think the pilgrims that did the pilgrimage before, I don't think anyone has done it with those restrictions.
Uncle,
So
you
that's
are
what
you are definitely of the 1%ers of the world.
So that's what made me excited, and that's what made me do the pilgrimage, is to test myself. And I knew that in my lifetime, there was probably not. I'm gonna probably hit some pain and suffering that I've never felt in my lifetime. And I thought, man, how much that could make me a better, stronger person to be able to, go through life right now. I've had a long, pretty crazy life, And I went through a lot of scary, fearful, painful things. But if I can bring myself to experience more different ones in different angles,
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that make me a stronger person, and that's why I decided to do the pilgrimage.
Did Roman go with you on one of
No,
them?
Roman joined me with the walk across Japan.
Oh, okay.
Everyone, so a lot of people mix it up
Oh,
because
yeah.
the
Yeah.
pilgrimage was 880 miles around the island of Shikoku. It's a full circle pilgrimage,
Mm.
and the walk across Japan was 1,360 miles from the north of Japan to the south of Japan.
Wow. See
That
this.
was just done out of something that I thought was another test, and was something that I wanted to do to raise awareness for the people up north. And then again, I made restrictions on that too. I couldn't buy food or water.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. See, I'm so blessed to live when you guys like and know you guys like and actually see you guys. Roman and you are some of the most amazing, fascinating people I've ever met in my whole. I mean, I'm not that old, but my whole life, man. I've
Well, you know
never.
what's interesting about that is when I was planning to do it alone.
Hmm.
I remember mentioning it to Roman one day. I went to Guam, and then it was funny because Rome looked at me and goes, "You're gonna walk the whole thing?" Look at me like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And like, yeah, he goes, "Oh, you mean walk the whole thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know Rome, right? That's how he
Yeah,
talks."
yeah. He's like, whoa,
"Oh,
you're gonna walk it.
you're gonna walk the whole thing?" I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm not buying food and water." He goes, "You're not buying any food and water." And I saw his head churning. He didn't say anything that time. But after I left Guam 2 weeks later, he called me. And he said,
Wow.
"Enz, I want to, that pilgrimage, that walk across Japan?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Is there any cheating?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Can we cheat? Like the food and the walk and. And I said, "No." I said, "We can't cheat." He goes, "Oh." Hangs up the phone. I actually
Mm.
get a call back like 3 days later. He goes, "I'm coming with you."
And that was when
Yep.
you were mentioning like people were giving you food, and I mean, on both of them, but I mean, dang man, the when you are at a low, like I thought skipping meals, because sometimes I'll fast for 24 hours just because I know how it is to be homeless, because I was homeless for a little bit, and then just for a little bit, you know what I mean? Uh, um, I would skip meals so I could feel the, how the food tastes and the gratitude and the,
Oh, that's cool. That's
I
cool.
do those things, but that's very small compared to you guys, dude. It's
That's
crazy.
cool, man. That's cool.
Um,
Yeah,
that's
so we went. The longest we went was 4 days without food.
that's long.
Yeah, long, but we could find water. Yeah, because you
Yeah.
could drink at the parks.
Hmm.
The reason why I allowed myself to drink water, buy water during the pilgrimage, because a lot of the course is in the mountains.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I knew you didn't have access to really fine, clean water to drink.
Hmm.
So I wanted to make sure could buy water and carry it with me.
And then you
But
would have to
the walk
boil
across,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
the walk across Japan was all paved roads. We're walking pretty much down the strip. Of course, we can't walk on the highway, but all on the regular side roads, we walk straight down. So you could always find parks. You could always find
Yeah.
convenience stores to drink. Like in the bathrooms, or you could go
Hmm.
to the park bathrooms, or So I always felt that you could always find water on those walks. You wouldn't be in the mountains where there's no river, there's no water.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's why I made those restrictions on that one.
What did you gain out of it? I mean,
From the pilgrimage and the walk across Japan, I gained a lot of one the pilgrimage. What I gained out of that was appreciation for a lot of stuff in life,
hmm,
and the more you can appreciate in life, the more happier you can be.
definitely
And
gratitude, gratitude.
yeah, the happier you'll be, because I always explain it like this: there's three circles in life. There's a circle of things that annoy you. There's a circle of things that doesn't matter,
Hmm.
and there's a circle of things that make you piss you off.
Mm.
So rude people, people who cut in line,
Hmm.
um, freaking the hot or the rain, maybe like the pouring rain where you can't go outside. Kind of like fuck, man. It kind of gives you a bad feeling.
Yeah.
Things that don't matter is maybe like I don't know, maybe the bugs flying on the field outside.
Hmm.
Like maybe like going to bed at night, sitting on the sofa. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me pissed. And then the things that make you happy, like good food,
Mm-hmm.
um, a nice shower, maybe, or
Companionship, friendship.
companionship, or watching a cool movie, makes you happy. And there's all these different things in circles, and the more you can get into the happiness, is the better. So, what happened in the
Yes.
pilgrimages, for a simple example, is when you go to sleep at night,
Mm-hmm.
you're pretty much thinking of what you did that day or what you're going to do tomorrow. So you're pretty much going to sleep just thinking, okay, I got to go. Oh, shit, it's already this late. I got to get up at 8. I got to get to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You pretty much go to bed and just go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But for the pilgrimage, when I first came back from the pilgrimage, what was real crazy was every single night I got into bed. When you go into the pilgrimage and you have to find somewhere to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
before it gets dark, you want to find a place to sleep because you don't know what the terrain's going to look like when you wake up if you go to find somewhere in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure it's somewhere that's not going to have rain.
Mm-hmm.
If it rains and you get wet, you're going to have to move to a place where the rain doesn't hit. You got to make sure it's somewhere that snakes won't come. You got to make somewhere that maybe someone's not going to come and try and rip you out. There's
Yeah.
all these things that you got to worry about. And sometimes I find a nice place. It rains. I got to get up and I got to move. I got to move all my shit and move to another place. So
Wow.
it was always a burden to find somewhere to sleep
Mm-hmm.
and to have a soft bed. I used to lay out a thin, like a yoga mat on the
Mm-hmm.
ground to sleep on the pilgrimage.
Wow.
So I got a soft bed.
Mm-hmm.
If it rains, sometimes I don't even wake up, and I wake up in the morning and say, oh, it was raining last night.
Mm-hmm.
I got a nice pillow. I got a nice blanket. And I'm
Definitely.
sleeping in a nice, every night after the pilgrimage especially, it's real, it's emphasized to you in that after you come back from the pilgrimage, every time you're lying in bed, you're like, holy shit, I need to where if it rains, it's a soft bed, you go to sleep, and that didn't matter to me before. Getting into bed didn't matter to me. It was just I got to get to sleep so I can get up in the morning.
Yeah. It
All of a
just had
sudden, that
nothing, right? Now you have a.
all of a sudden something that didn't matter in my life became something that made me happy.
Wow. That's
Even
amazing.
something like, standing in line at the store,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna use Chinese because they do it a lot. The Chinese tour comes in, and
Mm-hmm.
they start freaking cutting in line,
Yeah.
and they make sure wait another 10 minutes, and you're waiting there like fuck these people should wait in line.
Mm.
And it's whether you be assertive and you go talk to the people at working and say, hey, they gotta line up, or you
Yeah.
suck it up, you have a shitty feeling inside. It
Definitely.
bothers you. It pisses you off.
And
So
that
after
messes up your whole day too.
and after the pilgrimage, when I remember going into Ikebukuro, lining up at a pharmacist to buy a drink, I drove there. I was going to go somewhere. I stopped over to get a drink. I remember standing in line. I remember seeing a Chinese lady come in with her friend and just cuts in line like, oh,
Mm.
okay, no big deal. And all of a sudden, her friend comes and cuts.
Mm.
And I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's not cool of them. But
Yeah.
you know what? After I'm buying a cold drink that I couldn't buy on the pilgrimage,
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying a cold drink. I'm also lining up in air condition.
Mm-hmm.
After I buy my drink, I'm gonna jump in my car and I don't need to walk 10 hours down the street on blisters and pain and cramped muscles. So right there, I'm thinking about, wow, I'm not in a bad situation. I gotta wait in air condition
Yeah.
another 15 minutes to buy my drink. But when I do get my drink, it's a cold drink,
Beautiful.
and I can drink it because I'm thirsty. I'm not having to walk another 2 hours to find a park to drink out of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me it was that didn't annoy me anymore,
Yeah.
and it became into a circle. The things that annoyed me, some of the things went into a circle didn't matter. So the circle that
Oh.
made me happy got bigger. A lot of things that made me much happier, and the things that, because a lot of things from the things that didn't matter went into the circle that made me happy, and a lot of things that irritated me went to the circle that doesn't
Didn't
matter. That
matter.
circle pretty much stayed the
Mm.
same, while the circle that annoyed me got smaller.
Wow. I've never heard you speak about this before.
Maybe not. Yeah. But
Wow.
it's funny because it's human nature. You start going back to it. I mean, now as I'm talking to you, I'm feeling like a hypocrite, thinking, "Fuck, I probably went to sleep last night
Pissed off.
thinking, "Fuck, I gotta go to sleep. I gotta get what you know."
Well, yeah, like you said, it's magnified right after you
Yeah,
do the sacrifice. So, you
it's
know.
funny because sometimes when I get annoyed at something that like a guy, a stupid driver,
Hmm.
and I'll say something, "Ah, you dumb shit."
Yeah.
There's sometimes my girlfriend Sarah will look at me and say, "Oh, I think you need another pilgrimage."
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe you need one more.
Yeah, I went back and I completed two of them,
Oh wow.
and I'm intrigued to do another one.
Maybe I'll
Not
go with
like
you.
I Yeah, but I don't think it's enough right now to actually make that step to do it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty destined to do another one. But it's
Yeah.
just a matter of when.
You gotta monitor your circles and make sure that when
Well, no,
stuff starts creeping.
it's a freaking crazy journey, yeah.
Yeah.
And inside, I gotta be ready to challenge myself in that journey.
Oh, because you know what it brings. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
no, well,
see.
the thing is, every pilgrimage is going to bring different pains and different.
Mhm.
No pilgrimage is going to be the same. Just because I
Mm.
did it once, it doesn't get easier. The
Mhm.
second one wasn't any easier.
Ah.
And the thing with the pilgrimage is, you know, it's no matter what,
Mhm.
in your lifetime, there's three types of pain. There's physical pain, there's mental pain, and there's emotional pain.
Mhm.
Okay, so emotional pain would be described as breaking up with a girl that you really cared about, and
Mhm.
you can't see her anymore.
Mhm.
Maybe it's about missing somebody
Yeah.
because they moved away.
Or they died.
Okay, yeah, or they died, they passed. Um, Mental pain is something like going to work and you're just feeling real shitty the first 2 hours and thinking, "Holy shit, I got another 6 hours."
Mhm.
That pain of thinking about, "Holy shit, I gotta still stay here and work." The mental pain, it breaks you here because it's like, I can't. How 2 hours on? I got 6 more hours,
Mhm.
and then you have, of course, the physical pain.
Yeah.
In your lifetime, there's a very rare that you're gonna hit with all three at one time.
Ah.
On the pilgrimage, you're constantly hit with all three at one time in a very severe level.
Wow. And stuff. I was about to say the stuff from way back when will come to the top of the water, and you have to deal with it while you're on the pilgrimage. I mean, that's
Well, you know what it
crazy.
is. For example, the physical pain. When you after the second day of walking for 13 hours,
Mhm.
you're starting to get blisters, muscle
Oh,
pain and
I
blisters.
see. Yeah.
And it's not like I'm gonna just stop because I have blisters. I have to learn to walk through blisters. I
Mm.
realize that blisters isn't that bad. You can walk through blisters. I remember playing basketball and have a
Mhm.
blister on my heel. I would skip practice
Yeah.
because I couldn't fuck with the blister.
Mm.
But in the pilgrimage, you walk through it. I had to walk through it. So physical pain was always there every day. Everyone thinks about walking, the pains in your feet, but you got to carry a pack.
Oh
So
my
anyone in the
gosh. Yeah.
military will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
People who are not in the military, they carry their pack to school, take it off as soon as they get to their classroom. They carry it to
Mm.
the store. When they buy something, they take off their pack. Always constantly taking it off, and it's not that heavy. There's a lot of pain in the shoulders with the pack when you're carrying a heavy pack for hours at a time.
That's
Yeah, so
crazy.
there's a lot of physical pain. Mental pain is like walking 5 days and your muscles are all cramping up, your blisters are broken open, and you look at the map and say, "How much more days do I have?" And you look at the course of the map that you have a whole course, and you've literally walked a speck, a dash. Mentally, it breaks you, man. Like, holy shit, my body's just broken down when I
And you
walk the
got, yeah,
dash.
and you're just
And I still
anticipating the
got like
rest of it.
this all the way around to go. Like, holy shit, mentally, it breaks you. And
Wow.
emotionally, I don't consider myself a lonely person at all.
Hmm.
But emotionally, man, when you walk in alone, you're pretty much you become like the lowest in society because you
Yeah.
get start getting smelly because the sweat on the backpack. Or even if you can somehow find a hose to shower it every night, all
Yeah.
the sweat drying up on your backpack, it starts getting really stink.
Hmm.
And then you look tattered because you can't shower as clean as you want to. Your clothes, you pretty much got to hand wash it and try and dry it before you walk again. So
Wow.
you look you become someone that looks like that guy is not spending nights in hotels. He's not taking proper baths. So when
Yeah.
people walk by me, they see that I'm not clean. I'm almost like a homeless person.
Yeah.
So as far as that, the emotional side, man, you don't have anybody to walk with. You don't have anybody to talk. Sometimes you're walking for the
Hmm.
whole day, all day in the mountains, and all you can hear is your stick. Yeah, so and it's all about you thinking. And I forbid myself to listen to music
That's beautiful.
because music will take your mind off of things. Music does magical things for you and will give you energy. But
Yeah.
I felt like if I could get the energy from music,
That's
it
cheating.
it would make me stronger if I couldn't, and I had to bring it within myself. So I
Oh.
didn't listen to any music.
Wow.
So I mean, emotionally, man, it was I was cool because some of my friends knew I was going on a pilgrimage.
Hmm.
There was 4 times where they came over and walked with me.
Wow.
So I had someone to talk to.
Yeah,
They
yeah, yeah.
bought me lunch. They bought me lunch. The my rule was you cannot buy shit for yourself.
Hmm.
But if there was an offering, I would take it. So
Wow.
I remember one guy came up all the way from Nagoya. He drove all the way down to Shikoku to meet me, took me to eat at McDonald's, and then before he left, he put me in a hotel for one night.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's more than just that. I just felt like when I stepped inside, I recovered a lot, and not only I could take a nice clean shower, and having someone to talk to, man.
Yeah.
Until I mean, if you've been homeless, even for a day or two,
Yeah.
you know how it is. If you don't have anyone to
It's
talk to,
scary. It's
it gets
scary.
lonely. It gets lonely.
I had to
And when
sell tuna. I had to sell all my clothes to get tuna sandwiches and shit like that.
oh wow.
Um.
And the thing too, the other thing is the priests tell you to, if you're gonna do the pilgrimage, the first time you should do it alone,
Uh,
because when you think about it, all the three spectrums of pain,
hmm.
mental, physical, and spiritual,
Yes.
emotional. I mean, all those get enhanced when you're alone.
Yes, definitely.
If
I mean, I
if
wasn't
you're
even alone, dude. Like I was with my girl from Hawaii, Big Island, and she was supplementing. That's how we found a place to stay. And this lady, we were staying in a hostel. This lady, her generosity came out of her because she saw us, and she was like, "What are you guys doing here? Why are you staying here? No, you're gonna stay in my place that I have down the street." And she opened up her door to me, and it's like
where was this?
San Francisco,
Oh
California.
wow, really?
Yeah, man, it was a trip. It was a
You
trip.
know what she was in your life?
An angel, man.
Yep, exactly. I was gonna tell you that's an angel. Yeah.
And
In my pilgrimage, I met a lot of angels like that too.
yeah, but it was just amazing because you know that was the craziest part of my life, and someone gave to me when they didn't have to, and it was like you said, it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
amazing. Uncle,
Yeah.
I know we're getting I know you are a very busy guy. Let's talk about uh what do you want to your legacy, what do you want to be remembered as?
I think I want to remember it as I'm being remembered today.
Hmm.
It is the man with the unbreakable spirit, or the Yamato Damashi, this the spirit that goes on no matter what. The
Yeah,
warrior, someone who who would push through whatever. Don't want to be known for a super good fighter. I don't want to be known for
yeah.
undefeated fighter. I don't want to be known for like a rich guy or
The guy
I
who
want to be
never
known.
tapped. The
Yeah, I want to be known as that. Holy fuck! When they hear my name, it's like, oh, that guy was a freaking animal. He was a warrior, I'm kind of I love it because I think that's how I will be remembered. I already
it
hear it
is.
now.
It is,
Yeah,
man.
it's awesome. It's so awesome.
And you're living, man. And people are giving you the recognition, man. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's so lucky for me. Yeah.
Oh, real quick, favorite poet.
Poet. Oh, I don't have a poet.
Okay. Favorite quote.
Favorite quote. Whew. Actually, you sent me these questions earlier. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I should have looked them up. Favorite quote. My favorite quote is probably "Everything happens for a reason."
I love that. I love that.
Everything happens for a reason.
And thank you so much for being the light for others with your sacrifice for yourself, man. I mean, like, you did what 0.5% of people in the world probably do. I mean, you're probably the only guy who's ever done something like that, man. Seriously. I was trying to be like, there's probably one more guy, but no, there's no more guys, dude.
Well, I had a good time, man. Keep in touch. Whenever you want to talk again, you let me know. And when this is up, send me the link. I'll blast it over my social media.
Awesome. Thank you, Sensei. I really appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Right on, brother. All right. Keep in touch, man.
Alright, guys, thanks for joining us. That was episode 3 of the Intellect Selectah podcast, brought to you by DestinyForever.com. Please go subscribe to Uncle Enson at Enson Inoue on all social media platforms. Show your support. Also, subscribe to his YouTube channel. And take it easy. Shoot.